Have you ever wondered why, on one specific night of the year, we dress up as ghosts, monsters, or superheroes and go door to door asking for candy? Why do we carve spooky faces into pumpkins and tell ghost stories? The answer is a fascinating journey back in time to an ancient festival that predates Halloween as we know it. Get ready, because we're about to uncover the true, ancient origins of Halloween. It all begins with the Celts, an ancient people who lived over 2,000 years ago in the lands we now know as Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France. They celebrated their new year on November 1st. This day marked the end of summer and the harvest, and the beginning of the dark, cold winter time of year, often associated with death. The night before the new year, October 31st, they celebrated a festival called Samhain. Samhain, pronounced Samhain, was the most important festival in the Celtic calendar. It was considered a liminal time, a moment caught between the end of the light half of the year and the beginning of the dark half. The Celts believed that on this night the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead became incredibly thin. This meant that the spirits of those who had passed away could return to earth and walk among the living. Now, this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. The return of ancestral spirits could be a comfort, a time to feel connected to loved ones who had departed. But the Celts also believed that other, more mischievous or even malevolent entities, like fairies and other supernatural beings, could cross over as well. To deal with these spectral visitors, they developed a series of rituals and traditions. One of the most important traditions was the lighting of huge, sacred bonfires. These weren't just for warmth. The flames were believed to have protective, purifying powers, warding off evil spirits and guiding friendly ancestral spirits back to their homes. People would gather around these massive fires, and druids, the Celtic priests, would make prophecies for the coming year, a practice made easier, they believed, by the presence of the spirit. But what about the costumes? This is where things get really interesting. To avoid being recognized and bothered by the roaming spirits, people would wear disguises. These costumes were often made from animal skins and heads, designed to either fool the spirits into thinking they were one of them, or simply to scare them away. It was a form of supernatural camouflage. This practice of guising is the direct ancestor of our modern Halloween costumes. The tradition of leaving out food and drink has deep roots in Samhain as well. Families would leave offerings on their doorsteps and set extra places at their dinner tables to appease the spirits and ensure a safe, prosperous winter. It was a gesture of hospitality and respect for the otherworldly guests. If you pleased the spirits, they might grant you their protection. If you didn't, well, you might become the victim of a prank or trick. Sounds familiar, right? Over time, these practices evolved. During the Middle Ages, customs like souling emerged, where poorer people would go from door to door, offering to pray for the souls of a family as dead relatives in exchange for soul cakes. This, combined with the earlier tradition of guising, where young people would perform songs or skits for treats, slowly morphed into the trick-or-treating we know today. So, how did this ancient Celtic festival become the worldwide phenomenon of Halloween? The answer lies in the spread of Christianity. As the Roman Empire expanded and Christianity became the dominant religion, the Church had a clever strategy for converting pagan populations. Instead of completely banning their deeply rooted festivals, they often absorbed and recontextualized them. This process is called syncretism. Temples were converted into churches. Pagan symbols were given Christian meanings. And most importantly, festival dates were aligned. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III moved the Feast of All Saints' Day, a day to honor all Christian saints and martyrs, to November 1st. This was a direct move to overlay a Christian holiday on top of the pagan Samhain. Consequently, the night before, October 31st, became known as All Hallows' Eve, the evening before All Hallows' Day. Over the centuries, All Hallows' Eve was shortened and corrupted into the word we all know, Halloween. The Christian holiday and the ancient Celtic traditions began to merge. The focus on the dead remained, but now it was framed within a Christian context of saints and souls. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place in the 19th century. The Great Famine in Ireland in the 1840s led to a massive wave of Irish and Scottish immigrants to the United States. They brought their rich cultural traditions with them, including their version of Halloween, which still held strong echoes of the ancient Samhain festival. In America, these traditions mixed with local customs and truly took off. The practice of dressing up, which had been a way to hide from spirits, became a fun activity for children and adults. The leaving of offerings evolved into the organized ritual of trick-or-treating, and the carving of gourds, originally turnips in Ireland, was adapted to a fruit native to America, the pumpkin, giving us the iconic jack-o'-lantern. By the early 20th century, Halloween had transformed from a solemn, spiritual observance into a more community-focused, secular celebration. The spooky elements remained, but they were now part of the fun, rather than a genuine fear of roaming spirits. So, this year, when you put on your costume, carve your pumpkin, or hand out candy, remember the long and incredible history behind it all. You are taking part in traditions that stretch back thousands of years, from the mystical bonfires of the ancient Celts on the night of Samhain, through the Christianization of Europe to its explosive popularity in America. It's a holiday that connects us not just to our community, but to the ancient belief in a world just beyond our own. Thank you so much for joining me on this historical journey. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind our traditions. See you in the next video.